happened to me about 3 years ago, and I still think about it almost every night. At the time, I was living alone in a small apartment on the 14th floor of an older building downtown. It wasn't a bad place. Quiet neighbors, decent rent, close to work. I worked late shifts back then, so I usually got home sometime between 1 and 2 in the morning. One night, I got back especially late after staying overtime. I remember being exhausted. I picked up some takeout on the way home, got into the elevator, and spent the whole ride upstairs half asleep, just wanting to eat and crash. When I got to my apartment door, I reached into my jacket pocket for my keys. Nothing. I checked the other pocket. Still nothing. At first, I thought maybe I left him in my car, but then I noticed something sticking out of the lock on my door. It was a small folded piece of paper jammed into the deadbolt. I pulled it out and unfolded it. The paper looked ripped out of a notebook. There was messy handwriting across the middle of it. "You sleep deeply." I just stared at it for a second, confused more than anything. I honestly thought it was some weird joke. Then I noticed there was another sentence underneath it. Especially around 3:18 a.m. The second I read that, I felt this horrible sinking feeling in my stomach. Because that was true. Almost every night after work, I'd fall asleep on the couch around that exact time with the TV still on. I never told anyone that. Nobody should have known it. That's when I stopped thinking it was a prank. I grabbed the doorknob automatically, and the door slowly opened before I even turned the key. It was unlocked. I remember standing there in the hallway trying to decide what to do. Part of me wanted to get back in the elevator immediately and call the police from outside. But another part of me kept trying to rationalize everything. Maybe I forgot to lock the door. Maybe someone in the building was messing around. So I went inside. The apartment looked completely normal. Nothing was broken. Nothing looked stolen. The kitchen lights were off. The couch was where I left it. Everything looked untouched. But I immediately felt uncomfortable. I can't really explain it properly. The apartment just felt wrong. Too quiet. I pulled out my phone and opened the security app connected to the camera I had in the living room. The app wouldn't load at first. Then eventually it opened, but the footage from the last 2 hours was gone. Not corrupted, not glitched. Deleted. I remember my hands starting to shake a little. Then I checked the smart lock logs through the app. There was an entry showing the door had been opened around 12:12 a.m. while I was still at work. And then another one that honestly scared me more than the first. Unlocked manually from inside. I kept rereading that line over and over. From inside. I was alone. At least I was supposed to be. Then I heard a creaking sound from down the hallway, near the utility closet beside my bathroom. Not loud, just one slow creak, like somebody shifting their weight carefully on the floorboards. I froze completely. The building made noise sometimes, but this sounded different, deliberate. I stood there listening. A few seconds later, I heard it again. I opened my Wi-Fi settings for some reason. I don't even know why. I think I was panicking and trying to find something that made sense. There was an unknown device connected to my network. I didn't recognize the name, but it was actively transferring data. At that point, I started feeling genuinely sick. I turned on my phone flashlight and pointed it toward the hallway. Nothing. The utility closet door was cracked open slightly, but I couldn't see inside properly. Then I noticed movement behind me. Not directly behind me. In the reflection of the living room window, I saw the closet door slowly moving open wider. I turned around immediately, but the flashlight only hit coats hanging inside the closet. Nothing else. I kept trying to calm myself down. I remember actually laughing nervously because I thought maybe I was imagining things. Then my phone battery suddenly dropped from 15% to 2%. The flashlight dimmed. And when I looked toward the bathroom mirror, I saw someone standing behind me. Not clearly, just a dark silhouette. Tall, completely still. I couldn't make out a face or anything, but I know I saw somebody. I locked up completely. I couldn't move for maybe 2 seconds. Then my phone screen flickered and went black. That snapped me out of it. I ran straight for the front door. I don't even remember grabbing my wallet or my food or anything. I just remember running down the hallway and hitting the stairwell door as hard as I could. I called the police from outside the building. They searched my apartment that night, but they never found anyone inside. What they did find was a tiny hidden camera inside the smoke detector above my bed. The smoke detector apparently wasn't even the original one that came with the apartment. Someone had replaced it. That messed me up more than anything else. The idea that somebody had been inside my apartment long enough to do that, and probably more than once. I moved out 4 days later. The person who did it was never identified. And honestly, the worst part isn't even the fear anymore. It's knowing how safe I used to feel before that happened. Because once somebody violates your space like that, home never really feels the same again.